gods above us.
Dragons attacking together.
It's like the end of the world.
And what exactly is the plan against 4 dragons?
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our Paws On Prime podcast.
And today we're covering the second season of The Legend of Vox Machina.
Yes! Now this season heightens the danger right off the bat when a Conclave of Dragons invades Tal'Dorei and wipes out nearly the entire kingdom. So now Vox Machina must travel across different lands to find the weapons that can defeat these nearly invincible beasts.
Yes, too invincible.
Yeah.
Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, click the notifications on future podcasts, and we'll pause videos.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us for our only second Vox Machina podcast.
Yes.
Since our learning of Critical Role in their original series.
Right. And we covered the first season quite a while ago. It was recommended to us by a friend. And we had to wait only a year after the first season to get the second one. So that means they worked pretty fast. Right. They worked pretty fast on it.
Yeah.
And when we saw the trailer, we saw a whole different vibe from the first season. And when we got to the actual show itself, it does like of Attack on Titan, where as soon as the episode starts, everything goes wrong. The dragons, like, you don't even get a chance to see what happens, like, wherever the cliffhanger leaves off, they immediately start from there, and the dragons just wipe out everything. There's no chill. They just destroy everybody, burn everything down, say they want their gold, they'll enslave them, and it's like, they didn't play. Like, the second they were there, they annihilated everybody.
And it's goodbye, King Carrie Payton.
Yeah, immediately. As soon as they showed he had a family, he immediately wiped out. It's like, why'd you bother showing us that then?
And it was so weird because when they had the cliffhanger, Rascal said, oh, he's gone next season.
Yeah.
And then the first thing that happens is he's gone. It's like, how did you know that?
And every time he says, oh, you thought they were by themselves, they were alone, like, oh, he has a family. Oh, you're gone because that'll be the saddest thing for them to lose the family. Or the other way around.
Yeah.
So.
Well, just in case you're not familiar with Critical Role, they're comprised of Matthew Mercer, Ashley Johnson, Liam
O'Brien, Travis Willingham, and Sam Riegel, right?
That's correct.
Right.
And
you said Ashley Johnson already, correct? Am I forgetting anybody?
yes, Travis's wife.
Oh, you know her name, right? Laura Bailey?
Yes.
Yeah.
And last year, was it last year or before last?
I think it was last year.
Last year they did a Kickstarter, not going for a very high amount to at least produce one episode. Their goal was 700,000 and they reached over 10 million.
Yes.
And they were able to complete the first season of Vox Machina.
Right.
So now that they've proven themselves with Prime exclusively, we have season 2.
Right.
So for those of you who weren't familiar, just want to make sure you know whom they are, what they did. That is so fantastic.
Quick rundown.
Right. So these 7 voice actors now are official animation creators and series creators.
Right.
Based on a series based on doing and playing the game they love.
Right. And now we have not watched the Critical Role gameplay online. We know it's free to watch on YouTube with their live streams and each campaign they've done.
It's on our to-do list. We've watched other videos like the Kickstarter video, the ones that were attached to that, and some other
And
videos.
the making of and the process. Right.
You've got to sit down and just watch a few of them.
Right.
We have read all but one of the
origin books.
Yes.
Right. So for here we know that the first season in the beginning was original ideas, and then it moved on to one of their arcs in their actual gameplay. Now for this one, there wasn't as much information for this season as was the first one. And it was oddly quiet about season 2. There was some excitement when it first came out, but there wasn't much hype there was as the first season going into the second season. And we don't know if this arc with the dragons was already in the game, or is this another inclusion because they bring up the Brimstone the dragon from the first season, that wasn't part of their game. So we're not sure if this is part of their game or this is something new they created just for the show to heighten the danger.
So if you're listening and you do know, because you're huge Critical Role fans, let us know in the comments below, please. Thanks.
Right. And as he said, it starts off with danger from the get-go. Everything goes to heck. Then they immediately have to leave. Half the people they know are killed off. The place is in smoke and fire and shambles. They're wanting people to give them gold or they'll destroy them on the spot. They want to wipe out humans and have the world be nothing but dragons. It's like they immediately just want to end the world.
Yeah, this is the worst possible scenario.
I mean,
seen coming after the cliffhanger. There are a couple of things that also happen that are surprising with our heroes.
Right.
Some of them are actual character development, and some involve character development that puts them through hell.
Right.
And we weren't expecting that. So we'll start with Grog.
Yes.
And what happens with him is totally unexpected, and it, takes him down quite a few notches as far as him having confidence in his own strength and abilities.
Right.
We get to see more of his backstory.
Right.
And character growth as a result of it.
Right. And it seemed like his character arc was, what's his strength? And he thinks it's just the outside strength you already see him as. But they keep asking him, what's your strength? And he's not getting it. So once, as you said, he's going through this development on what really is his strength and not just the outward appearance and the muscles you see, what really drives him to fight.
Right.
And you actually get an interesting backstory on how he wasn't always like this and where more of his caring side came from when you saw most of his family.
And if you watch season 1, then you'll recall or remember that he had the sword from the Briarwoods that he was still carrying.
Right.
And this thing is evil and talking to him and wanting him to kill everybody and
so he can keep drinking and he said,
and it was almost like, my precious,
right.
You don't need anyone else, you don't need anything else, you've got me, feed me.
Right. And he said, and it gets to a point where it gets wanting more and more, no matter how many villains he defeats, it keeps wanting more. And he says, do you ever get full? It's like, no, it doesn't.
and then one of the funny parts of this, even though it's pretty dark, is Scanlan keeps hearing him talk to him. He's like, dude, are you talking to your sword? No, I'm talking to my poop.
What?
And anything but him knowing what he was really doing.
They're like, okay, like, you buy that?
So we do see character development in him in this season, which is really great. And as you mentioned, getting the backstory. Now, of course, Pike is his best friend. And you see some things going on with her as well that you didn't expect, including her getting closer to Scanlan.
Right. And it ties in with his character arc as well. And she had part of her arc already in the first season where she wasn't really staying on her path of faith because of all the crap she's done with the group, with the drinking, the swearing, and the blood fighting and all that. It seemed like, she was losing her powers because she wasn't staying faithful, which is a big message right there. And then that actually carried on into season 2, where she had to really question more of the things that she and her friends were doing. What would be the less violent path, the less aggressive one that wouldn't involve carnage or something illegal or something immoral, and be more on the path of a hero rather than just go for what's the easiest and just knocking someone out or taking them out or something. And it comes really full strength when it comes to Grog's arc as well, when it starts getting really, really violent and trying to find a way to solve the problem without resorting to killing somebody, like with Avatar.
Right. Now, since we mentioned Scanlan, he definitely had some character growth in here, including learning about family he didn't know he had, and he did more wanting to prove that he could be a hero, he could help, that he wasn't useless, and trying to be more brave and not run in the face of danger. And
Right.
he has some really great lines. There were some really great moments. Hearing his thoughts, seeing more of his backstory, and learning that, of course, there's more to him than the singing and the sleeping around and all of that. But
Right.
it was great to actually hear his character reveal the depth of his feelings and his thoughts
Yes.
and his insecurities and what he really wants in life, especially when we got to see one scene, his dream of what he really wants.
Right. And he would actually like to settle down, and it actually is taken seriously because no one ever thought he, of all people, want to settle down, but he actually does, and he's constantly doing that to sleeping around to fill a void, which is actually something different and adding some depth, because usually when they have characters like this, they make them irredeemable or scum or something, and either you're not supposed to like them or they're overly hated and just crapped on, and it's like it's not as big of a deal. But in here they made a story out of it, and they actually made it really interesting without having to go in graphic or anything.
And one of the best scenes in here for him is the episode in which they meet the Sphinx. We won't reveal the entire story behind the episode, but he sings a song and then reveals how he truly feels. The Sphinx speaks to him and gives him advice, and that's one of the best scenes of having his revelations.
Right.
When we begin to know, okay, there's more to him and how he really feels. So
Right.
it was really great to see the character growth and to know there's a lot of depth to him
Right.
that you didn't know in season 1.
Right.
Now, Keela, of course, she gets more powerful, and
She becomes
and she decides to. Last season, she told Vax she wasn't interested, but this season she gets more powerful, and then now
Suddenly.
she's interested.
It's like, that's odd, but okay. Or she wasn't ready then or something, I
possible,
guess.
sure.
Or I guess. And
Definitely.
she becomes the Avatar now, and she has all these powers. She's got fire, earth, water, wind, heart, all that. And yeah, it kind of changes for her too, where she becomes a lot less timid.
Very.
I mean, she's still scared about doing something because you would logically be scared of some of the things that they see, especially the dragons, but she's not so timid on just about everything to use her powers for. So that ended up being a big step forward in her character.
Definitely. And then we have Vax and Vex. We'll talk about Vex first. And she has her epiphany in a dangerous situation where this being who's like a woodland creature, kind of like Pan, and he thinks he's sexy, but he's not.
And it's like gross,
And
and he's
decides
gross.
He wants her, and he's trying to trap all these beings, but he wants her, and he's like luring her like a vampire.
It's like, not
Into
again.
staying with him. And then she has some flashbacks that shows us more about her backstory and Vax's backstory, of course, because it's connected. And she has her epiphany where she realizes that she's strong and she doesn't need to be afraid, and that her past is not shaping her future, and she needs to let that go in terms of letting it taunt her into being fearful. Let it strengthen her, make her better, stronger, and she has an epiphany in a particular episode.
Especially with knowing the backstory of them and the dad, and you see the dad and you're like, wow, you're just terrible. And also you and she also finds out she don't want anyone else but Percy, so
yes, we knew that. We all knew that. That's our favorite ship.
She turned him down immediately when he suggested she be with him, and she snapped out of it.
Yes. It was a Kashima moment. It was a Kashima moment.
She didn't want to be with him. She's like, no.
Now, fortunately, within the same season, she does something that Vax says, don't do this. He tells them all, don't do this. And they all don't listen to him like Batman and Justice League.
Right.
When he's like, don't touch anything. It was too late. They already had touched things. They were putting it back.
Right.
Unfortunately, here it wasn't as funny because it had a disastrous outcome.
Really
that
disastrous.
she was responsible for. And she knew that she was responsible for.
Right. And she kind of had to carry that now for forever.
Right. So now we'll talk about Vax.
Yeah.
And how he has a whole big character, would you say development? Shift.
Yeah.
That's what I would call it, a shift. He gets more powerful. And what's really odd is he gets this power as a result of what Vex does and Percy and the rest of them. And he's really almost this all-powerful being, but there are times in which he isn't. And it's kind of confusing. If you can explain that to us in the comments, we really appreciate it, because we thought he was going to be this character, kind of like the Avatar, where he was almost unbeatable.
Right.
Like the dragons, he would be sort of invincible, but I don't know if it's because he's new to it or because the being that's given him the powers, the matron, is giving it to him as she sees fit.
Yeah, I think it's the matron of Ravens.
Yes.
I think so. And he's supposed to be her champion now because he
Her beautiful champion.
I was like, oh gosh. And he took Vex's place because she was gone. And he pretty much ended up taking her place. And now he was given this Raven armor thing that they say can't come off. And the shift is that he has a whole different personality. It's almost like there's nothing. There's no emotion whatsoever. I mean, you got a feel of what he was in the first season, being just as crazy as Vex and sometimes licentious as Scanlan and like to drink and everything, good archery. You got all that. But here, after that event, it's like a whole nother character. There's nothing to him in terms of the emotion. He doesn't laugh at anything now. He doesn't interact as much. He seems more distant, and they don't understand what's happened to him.
Now, having read through some of the information online that tells the story, unfortunately, we know what's happened to him. It was a spoiler. In case you haven't watched it, we're not going to say, and that might be part of why his personality is so different.
Yeah.
And very stark in relation to him being in season 1.
Right.
But yeah, his stories become really tough. And as you mentioned, we see the dad and the stepmom. And yeah, he's like another one of those awful dads that you have in anime. You've got
Right, might as well count this.
And you find out why they left home, and they've been dependent on each other for years because of what's happened with the dad, and he hasn't changed. He seems to be worse than what we see in the backstory.
Right.
He's really a piece of work. Now, maybe there's a time that comes later where he's not, but right now, he's the jerk.
Right.
And you can see why they left.
Yeah,
And
like,
they
makes
come
sense.
back, and they're proud of what they've done. They're proud of Vox Machina. They've grown up and matured, and he still talks to them like they're nothing and tells them they're nothing. And you really just want to punch the crap out of him to what you can. But yeah, he's a piece of work. And after you meet him and the stepmom, you find out they have a little sister who they're really excited about having. And she is excited about having a big brother and a big sister. You are proud of them once you see this backstory and you meet him and you find out how he treats them when he says, you're actually proud of them because you know all they've overcome.
Right.
And then Percy steps up like he didn't do earlier in the season to defend them. And it's like, okay, good job, Percy.
Right. Because it's like you knew after an episode or two, they felt horrible about what they did. They still don't know about the cost of what they did, but they're like, okay, need to fix this. You know, it can't fix it immediately, but do everything you can to do it. And it's like, at least they acknowledge it immediately and try to fix it immediately instead of just ignoring it or having a guilt trip or drag their feet. At least that was a good thing. And it didn't feel like that when you first started watching it, like, this is your fault, you jerk and all that. But as it goes on, you see like they're trying everything they can to at least do something about it. Try to rectify something.
Last but not least, we have Pike. We didn't talk
We
about
talked about
Pike.
Pike.
Okay, so we
that's
covered
it.
everyone.
That's it.
Yes, no, Percy.
Well, he didn't really have an arc this season. He
didn't have an arc, But he did have character growth after what happened
Right.
with Vax and Vex.
Right.
He did have some character growth, and you see him wanting to show more assertiveness.
Right,
and
because
to be braver.
oh yeah, that's
you
right.
can't dare do that to Percy. No way.
That's right. That's right, because after the first season, you kind of see how his personality really is. Not that creature that was in him wanting vengeance is gone. He's a lot more lighthearted. He's still the serious one, but he's got way more humor in him. And now it's like, what was funny is the first season, like, oh, he's got this royal title and everything. He's high society. Then he gets to other high society, like, you ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Go away. Your title means nothing. We don't care what your name is, your family name is. You're going to be like the other commoners because you're not this royalty. And it's like, wow, your name means nothing now after one season. And it's like, they kind of pity him. It's like, man, he was this one season. Now it's like, oh gosh, now he's got less authority.
But he is having character growth. His hasn't been, I think, as big as the others.
Right.
Because I think he got so much focus in season 1.
Right. That's where
Season
the majority
2,
happened.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's still hot. He's still a great character.
Yes.
I really wish there had been more flirtation between he and Vex.
It's like,
maybe
it's kind
next
of,
season.
it was kind of like just small bits,
Right.
like compared to the compilation they did on YouTube with season 1 and
Right.
season 2. It's like, it's a lot shorter, especially because some of them were separated for most of the season.
Right, and I think that's because of the final thing we want to discuss. Again, the villains, the dragons, they're just crazy, bat crap crazy. They are violent. They are ruthless.
They're
are
worse than the
horrible,
Briar was.
and they have so much of their crap to deal with within the season. Yeah, there's not as much time for flirtation
Or
and seeing
humor.
those things.
It's a lot less humorous this season. It has its funny scenes and moments and lines, but not like when you had the hilarious episodes and things in the first season where like they're at the party and things and doing the song number and stuff where you were just kind of laughing your head before it got serious. There was a lot less of that. It was so heavy and the dragons were so cruel that there wasn't a lot of humor in here in comparison to season 1.
True, but I'm really glad at the end of the season we see that they are not invincible. And
Right,
we'll watch
'cause it was
we'll
getting
find out how-
ridiculous.
yeah, we were like, oh, come on.
They got this,
Yes.
acid, invisibility, regeneration, they come back, they breathe fire. Like, what can you not do?
So we're happy to see that now in season 3, they're going to have a chance to take them down. They've gotten rid of one. They've got 3 or 4. 4 to go.
Yeah.
I think there's 5 of them, right?
I
5
thought it was
dragons?
4.
Okay, then they've got 3 to go. And we're really happy to know that they have a chance. We know there's going to be some things happening with Vax that I'm not going to be happy about. We know that there's going to be more development for Scanlan. There's going to be more development for the relationship between Pike and Scanlan. That was obvious in some things that happened.
Right.
I won't spoil for you. Keyleth, I think she's going to be disappointed.
A little bit, yeah.
And hopefully we'll see Percy and Vex have more going on. The
Right.
2 of them. And more development for Grog, because now that he's got more responsibility and he's more of a role model now for his people, then we should see him doing more things that are more heroic and less drinky, stabby,
Right.
So if you've seen Vox Machina season 2, let us know what you think in the comments below.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and good videos of your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. If you haven't seen it, it's available exclusively on Prime to stream. If you haven't seen season 1, you need to see that before you see 2. Absolutely, you can't watch season 2 without watching season 1. And when you do, come back and let us know what you think. And if any of you wonderful Critical Role fans and Vox Machina fans are listening, thank you so much for being so receptive to us and welcoming our first ever podcast for season 1.
Yes.
You left some wonderful comments. You explained things we didn't understand. And there are a lot of fandoms that just aren't welcoming to new people, that don't know and really want to. So thank you for being so wonderful to us. We really appreciate you, and we're loving being a part of the fandom and hope to be even more engaged as time goes on.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
The Legend of Vox Machina premieres January 20th, only on Prime Video.
My balls are ice cubes.
Don't you worry, Uncle Grumpy's gonna keep you warm.
This is actually kind of cozy.
A bounce, we go.